Hi guys, good morning. Thank you for having me here today. I'm just going to set my timer quick. So funny story about how I was chosen to be the keynote today. I met with Melissa and a couple of people before the end of school last year, and we got together and we came up with some ideas of breakout sessions that we would have today. And I was really hoping to present on blended learning with one of my team teachers, Jen Jarrett, today. So we were really hoping to do that topic, but there was a lot of interest in it, so it was kind of up in the air if we would get to do that. So I didn't really hear anything all summer, and then all of a sudden I get an email from Melissa Colombo, and it's like, Hilary, what's your number? I need to call you. It's super urgent. So I'm like, she's going to cancel my session. You know, it's like the day before school starts. I'm like, this is awful. I've been planning for this all summer, and now she's found someone better to present. So here we go. So I reluctantly email her back my phone number, and I'm waiting all day for her to call me. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Finally, she calls me, and she's like, hey, how's everything going? You know, like the conversation that they like slowly let you down. So that doesn't happen. She actually offers me to do the Cultivate the Calling with you today, and I pause. And this was me. And I'm just counting up all the other people that probably declined this offer before she had to call me. So thank you. I appreciate being here today. I hope that it's somewhere close to what you expected this to be. I'm a teacher, a fifth grade teacher at West Broadway Middle School, and we've been open for 3 years. We opened just as a fifth and a sixth grade at first, and the idea was to roll out seventh and an eighth grade each consecutive year. But in typical PPSC fashion, we started with the seventh and eighth grade that year, and it was just awesome. We have a lot of fun there. I couldn't ask to be in a better place with a better group of people. We have a ton of West Broadway people here today. Can I get a raise of hands if you're from West Broadway? So I graduated from Rhode Island College, and right after that got hired at West Broadway. And my goal really was focused on being the change that I wish to see in the world. I wanted to do what's best for kids, and I felt like after interviewing a multitude of different places in Providence, I felt like that was the place for me to be. So that's kind of what I'm here to talk to you about today, about how we can all be the change that we wish to see in the world if we're doing what's best for kids. And if we want to do what's best for kids, then we need to change our thinking. We need to have a different mindset than what we're typically used to in old school teaching models. Check this out.
This looks like it's a Thailand or something. I don't know what it is. It's beautiful. Oh my God! There's another doll in here. Hi, look at this. There's a doll in here. Man, look at this thing here. Oh my God, there's another one. Look at this. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a Russian nesting doll. You want to have a seat and start the meeting?
That's incredible. Look at that little doll. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Yeah.
It keeps going. It keeps going. There's more. There's more dolls in here.
No, they
Look
call
at
it
that.
nesting dolls.
Did you know that? No, but they keep going. There's more dolls. You have one doll, you have another doll. Put this on top of this doll.
That's what they are.
I just got to see. Got to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah,
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Okay, but why don't we start the meeting?
No, you should not tell me that goes again.
What's that?
Guys, there's another one. But where can I pick one of these up?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to sit down. We can get going.
Okay. I'm going to jump in here. Good. I'll do this.
So over the summer, I had the opportunity to present at the RIASP conference with building admins at West Broadway. And I saw Tom Murray, a keynote speaker at that conference, and he talked about something that I had never heard about before. It's called cemetery classrooms, which is basically when students are sitting in rows facing forward and the room is silent. If your classroom was like that growing up, raise your hand. Right? So this is the type of thing that we need to change. We need to change our thinking of the typical settings that we're putting students into if we want to do what's best for kids. Kids are awesome at thinking differently. It's really us that need the support. So I'm going to show you some examples of this. Some old school questions that kids are thinking differently too. What ended in 1896? 1895. Find X. This is like my worst nightmare as a math teacher. What did Mahatma Gandhi and Genghis Khan have in common? Unusual names. Where was the American Declaration of Independence signed? At the bottom. And let's back up a minute, okay? Look at this handwriting. This is the same kid. This kid is a genius. And lastly, what are 3 things that you want to do in the future? Get a girlfriend, kiss her, rule the world. In that order. But really, if we as educators want to do what's best for kids, then we need to have a growth mindset. We need to be thinking about doing things differently in order to support our kids, especially our at-risk youth who need that engagement factor in school. So, if you know anything about West Broadway Middle School, you know that we shut down Twitter about once a week. Somehow, we get a trending hashtag, and people from all over the place are on it. So, what better than West Broadway style, 3 hashtags to live by if you want to change the world? The first one is Culture Matters, hence the shirt. We get a couple of these every year with Bill Black as our principal. Culture Matters is something that we rolled out in the first year of school because we really wanted to prove to everyone, people that were on social media, our own kids, our staff, that we were really focusing on building human relationships, and that needed to be at the core before anything else. Here's some ways that we're doing this. You'll see this daily. If you come to West Broadway at 7:30 in the morning, you're going to see PRN and PRN back there, Miss Cynthia Torres and Miss Rachel Salvatore out greeting kids as they get off the bus, thanking parents for being on time today. If you walk into the school, you'll see teachers fist bumping. We do something called thresholding. You don't come into the class until you fist bump a teacher. You give a high five, a hug, something to have an instant connection to come in to the class. Sometimes we hold outrageous signs. We get as many people together as we can to go to all of our events. This is just a couple of after-school track meet and a basketball game that we had, and it's just the culture that we want to show the kids that we're there to support them, and we're just encouraging everyone that we know to show up there. We're not just doing that with West Broadway events, we're doing this outside of school. So on a Saturday, go to your local rec center. Go watch a kid play basketball for 30 minutes. Go sit down at Silver Lake Little League and watch a couple innings of baseball. You're going to immediately build connections with those kids, especially those kids that are giving you problems in class. You're going to have that connection with them, and they're going to want to do what's best for you and what's best for them. And it takes something simple as 20 minutes of your time to really make a difference. Not only are we building a culture around just human connection, we're building a culture around education. When we're presenting, we bring our kids with us. This is at the Blended Learning Conference that Rachel Salvatore and I presented at last year. We had 25 kids there that day on a Saturday in downtown Providence. They all came out of their busy schedules. They took buses. They had their parents walking them downtown because they wanted to come and teach other teachers how to do blended learning, because we made that something that they took ownership of. Today, if you come to our session in the afternoon right in this classroom, you'll see a station run by West Broadway students all about tech tools. We're also doing that type of thing between each other. So jumping in the car one night and driving to Boston for an unconference or an ed tech meetup just to do something fun, not because it's required, but because we love education and we love kids and we want to make culture matter and school matter. Does anyone know Bill Black? You're about to, because every Sunday he comes into our homes via YouTube. He makes something called Sundays with Bill, which basically recaps or gives us an intro of what's going to happen in the week to come. And he makes us remember every single day that it doesn't matter how stressful our jobs are and how much we're dealing with in the classroom. He remembers that we have fun. So I'm just going to show you a typical intro for Bill Black.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My, how can I resist ya? Mamma mia.
Hey everyone, happy Mother's Day to all.
If you're bored, please go on YouTube and watch them. There's one where he has a Titanic and a cat. It's so odd. I didn't want to show you and scare you today, but you should check it out. It's really a good one. Our second hashtag to live by if you want to do what's best for kids is blended learning. If you don't know about it, go and find this hashtag on Twitter and check it out. It's something that you want to implement in your classrooms. It's keeping kids engaged. It's going to lower dropout rates. And it's getting kids to take ownership of their learning. We were trained by the Highlander Institute. I was a first-year teacher. It was like middle of October, so I felt like I was just getting into the routine of knowing how to teach kids. I would teach my mini lesson, they would work collaboratively, and I'd pull my small group. So I'm like finally like, yes, I got this. And I'm getting ready after school one day, setting stuff up for the next day, and Mr. Black's like, Highlander Institute is here. And I'm like, what the F is Highlander Institute? I'm like, no way! That's awesome! And he's like, yeah, do you want to come to the meeting? And I'm like, absolutely. And then I'm thinking, like, do I have time to go and Google Highlander Institute before I get into the meeting? But I didn't. And I go sit down and I learned about blended learning for the first time. And it's impacted my teaching and my students' learning experiences more than I could ever explain to you. This is what it felt like at first. That was me for like the first several weeks, and sometimes that's still me now when I do blended learning. But you know what? Blended learning has not only improved education for our students, it's shown our students that we are risk takers, that we're willing to step outside of our comfort zones, the exact same thing that we're asking kids to do every day. It's taught us what real perseverance feels like as teachers, where we've gone through all of these years of how to teach kids, and now this is completely changing the game. We're learning what it feels like all over again. In blended learning, we have 3 stations. This is the first and most important station of blended learning, and there's no technology in this. Blended learning is not about the tech. Blended learning is about face-to-face instruction, small group interactions, and having one-on-one time with kids. This is a group of like 5 to 6 students with one teacher, and they're getting small group instruction every single day for about 30 minutes. It gives us the ability to differentiate to small groups of students and give them exactly what they need, exactly when they need it. The second station is our Collab Lab station. This is something that we're still progressing on. It used to be independent time, and that really just wasn't working for us. So we're switching it up. We're moving towards a collaborative setting where students are working on problem solving. They're working on performance tasks. They're working on games that have skills built into them where they're experiencing real life settings. And it's not teacher directed, it's completely facilitated by students. We have extremely high expectations and routines that they follow that make this work. And our last station is the technology station. We call that self-directed learning. It allows students to feel successful because everything is at their level. It's self-paced, they're having choice over what they're doing that day, what they're learning that day, and it feels meaningful to them. Okay. The last hashtag to live by, if you want to do what's best for kids, is kids deserve it. If you are on Twitter, go to this hashtag. See what people are posting. It is so empowering. I feel like it is still changing the way that I am instructing students every single day. We need to remember that our students, our most difficult students, are the ones that need it the most. I'm going to read this because I was one of those kids growing up. My mother had an addiction problem, and it was a very difficult time, and had a very difficult time supporting me and showing love because of how much she struggled to care for herself. She passed away when I was a young teen from an overdose. That time, when she went missing for about a week, after dropping me at school, we never spoke again. After that, I was a very sad and angry person. I was that kid in your class that you wished was absent that day, so you didn't have to deal with it. But sometimes, the ones that ask for love in the most unloving ways are the ones that deserve it the most. I hated school, not because my mom had passed, but because of the lack of support and empathy that I was shown after she did. I took several weeks off before returning to school, and very distinctly I can remember my first class back. It was a 10th grade math class, which is pretty ironic because now I teach math and love it. But for several years I hated math because of this. So it was a 10th grade math class, and the teacher handed me a test as soon as I walked in the door. No hi, no welcome back, definitely no, we missed you. I refused to do the test because I didn't know the material for missing so much. Now, don't get me wrong, I was definitely giving that guy an attitude, like I told you, not the nicest kid in the world. But the response that he gave me was something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. He said, "Oh, wouldn't your mom be so proud of you?" That was my last class that I ever went to. I walked out that day and never returned because of the lack of connection that I had with anyone at school. It took a very long time for me to get back on the right track. Someone who really inspired me was a Providence teacher who's still teaching today at Spaziano. Her name is Colleen Hanley. Does anyone know her? She taught me that building relationships with kids was the key to their and your success. She showed me how to be an advocate for at-risk youth, empowered me to truly do what's best for kids. So I urge you to be that one person that empowers someone in your classroom that may have no pride in themselves. That starts right now with you being here today. Thank you so much for being here, and enjoy every second.